broadly speaking, you can break all kinds of rules and get caught if you're delivering enough value. And if you're not delivering enough value, you're going to have to follow more rules. It's called latitude. It's called having earned respect or earned your stripes or in the mob made your bones. So, all right, let me jump into our topic about how to grow your career as an individual contributor. If you're a manager, how to grow your individual contributors who report to you. All right. Skill. You have a craft, you have an art, you have something you're good at. You're an engineer, you're a lawyer, you're a finance person, you're a doctor. You can hone that skill. One way to be worth more is to be an expert. So, one way to kill it is as an expert, how do you grow your expertise or how do you become an expert? Well, there's a list of things you can do here. You can practice your craft. You can work on it, just sheer practice. There's a study, it's well known now that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in what you do. So that's one thing you can do. Is you can go become an expert and work on that and put in your 10,000 hours. Like I talk a lot on here, how I've done 2,500 interviews. Well, 2,500 interviews is about 2,500 hours. So I've put in some time to get good at it. And I met one of our executive recruiters who'd done more than 10,000 interviews. Second, another way to improve your craft is to get a mentor, to go to school, go to night school, go to more school. And by the way, moderators, we have unapproved questions. Oh, there you go. You're on it. I see them rolling over now. Sweet. And thank you for all the people who are putting in questions. For the rest of you, go vote because there's several questions in now. We need votes on what you'd like me to talk about. We have 50 some people here. So the first person to go in to get a Twitch ID if you don't have one and go into our extension and vote, you get to choose what we'll talk about first. Okay. Practice your skill. Get a mentor. Go to school. Go to night school. Read a book. Get peers. Get peer input. Get peer review. There are lots of ways to improve your skill. And this is not, unless you ask me questions about it, a stream on improving skill. But that's one of the two ways to grow as an individual contributor and to get me or someone like me to want to pay you more. And we have someone in the stream. I won't bring him out unless he chooses, hey, Lotam, unless he chooses to identify himself. And for all I know, he is a she, but I think he's a he. He's in a situation where he feels he's increased his skills and he's fighting because he signed a contract that locked him in to get paid more. So it's a very real thing for him. Second, the second way, and this is going to be our big topic tonight, is increase your influence. The point here is you can grow your career very high and very big and get paid a lot and have a ton of impact without ever managing people. But you can't do it without being influential. And so let's talk for a minute. Let me see if I can find what I have prepared on this. Let's talk for a minute about the difference between leadership and management. So I'm going to swap views here real quick. So I just found that randomly on the web to get the image. The point is, if you want to be successful as an individual contributor, eventually you will be an expert in your skill, but you're going to still need to be a leader. I love this ads that they're popping up next to this. We may have to get rid of that in a minute. Come alive with the forest. Keep that in mind. Anyway, The stuff on the left hand here in leadership, you can do without ever managing a person. So focus on the goals. Um, you can, Matt John Dunn says I can talk about him, so we'll get to him in a minute. But you can focus on the goals. You can sell it. You can take risks, encourage others, go against the grain, break the rules. These are all things that you need to be able to know how to do as an individual. Managers do the other part, right? They're working. One way this is often summarized is managers work in the system, leaders work on the system. If you want to be more valuable, you can increase your skill level and you can increase your influence. I don't think this makes it look, by the way, like the two jobs are opposed to each other. Okay, I get your point that it looks like they're opposite. I think it's saying you can do a mix of both. By the way, to really get something done, you're always going to need to do a balance of these. For example, we're going to talk next week. My show on the 18th is about taking risk, but I don't take risks that I also haven't tried to minimize. And yeah, break the rules is a way to get fired, for sure. It's also a way to get things done. And you have to, the most successful people do some of each. So I'm going to take this down for a minute, and I'm going to talk about a couple of examples. And then we have a lot of questions coming in, which is fantastic. So I will go to questions a minute after that. And I see the audience has grown a lot. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Ethan Evans, and tonight we are talking about progressing your career as an individual contributor. So let's switch back over here for a minute. And what I want to talk about is, as a manager, you have to, the traditional management tasks people don't want to do are things like hiring, firing, giving hard performance feedback, enforcing rules, managing, giving performance reviews, and arguing with people about raises and why there's no snacks in the break room, and all kinds of things that people associate with, I don't want to do that, I just want to work on my skill. But if you think about some of the greatest individual contributors, they were very influential. So who are some great individual contributors, or largely individual? Well, let's look at Microsoft. Everyone knows Bill Gates. He was the CEO. He managed. But most people also know about Paul Allen, who was actually the main developer of Microsoft, in that case, the original Microsoft OS, and then for many years thereafter. Same thing, if you look at early Apple Corporation, everybody knows about Steve Jobs, the leader. But most people also know about Steve Wozniak, the engineer who put the chips together. You can be hugely impactful, and you are incredibly necessary. And if it's what you care about, you can get crazy rich as a highly skilled individual contributor. So you do not have to go into management and managing people. What you do have to be able to do is influence others, or be such an expert that the company will put people around you to basically be your handler. What does that look like? That's basically, think about Hollywood divas. Hollywood divas have a reputation for being impossible to work with, having crazy demands. So why does anyone work with them? Because whether the diva is male or female, they're either incredibly talented, beautiful, whatever, or they can sing, dance, act to the degree that they create so much value that people will put up with their crap in order to have them around. So, in the end, you either have to be so incredible that people will put up with your crap, or you need to develop enough social skills that you can still get your value out into a whole team. So that's kind of the end of the monologue I want to go over. I want to share a couple resources, and we'll jump into questions. So let's see. I haven't been keeping up with chat for a lot of this. I will get back to Mad John Dunn. His situation is he signed a contract a couple years ago to get money for school. And now he's increased his skills a lot, but the company doesn't want to pay him more for his higher skill because they're like, we bought and sold you a few years ago, and if you leave now, you owe us a bundle in repayment. And so he feels trapped in that contract. So if you want me to talk about that, put a question in the question widget, and he's here. We can discuss that with him. What are some examples of social skills? Dr. Jabri, that's another good one. If you want, I will talk about that. Again, put it in the extensions widget. I also see we have Plus David, one of our moderators here, giving you a list. So I am happy to answer these questions in a second. Okay, let me flip through a couple resources, then we'll go to your questions. This is great. We're going to kill it tonight. All right. Let's see. So everybody knows I have a recommended book list. You can check it out here. I need to go add this book to it. But my blog's theeasycoach.com, and those are the recommended books. We've talked about this book before. Start with Why. How great leaders inspire everyone to take action. So I looked up today on the Harvard Business Review, and it defines leadership as influence and inspiration versus, let me see if I can find this. It's in my notes. But I'll go look for it in a second. This book is talking about inspiring, telling people why they're going to do something. You don't have to manage anyone. If you're an expert and you have the expert knowledge of a system, of an art, of a medical condition, you can tell people why to do something without being their manager. Should I do a show about making cocktails? We could put that on. I could host you or raid you if you want to do that. All right. Hey, Shadow Fox, welcome in. And speaking of hosting, there's Shadow hosting us. Awesome. Always love to have the Fox Den here. And we're having a huge show tonight, complete with mojitos. All right. What did I want to show you guys, though? Here, a couple things. I'll blow this up some. It's 3 differences. It's a Harvard Business Review. 3 differences between being a manager and being a leader. La, 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 la. Let's make that bigger. So, counting value versus creating value. You can go read this later. I'll put the link in chat. Here it comes. Be on top of it. There you go. There's the link. Hey, Nightcom Lorente. Yeah, good name. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Always appreciate those. So 3 ways. 1, counting value versus creating value. Managers are usually about counting, not creating. By comparison, they're keeping track of. They're making sure people work their shifts. They're making sure the hamburgers get sold and how many. Second thing is circles of influence versus circles of power. Leaders create circles of influence. And as an individual contributor, you want to be influential. Managers create circles of power. How many people report to them that they can tell what to do? And that's leading people versus managing work. So let me find my quote on this. Going to take me a sec. We'll go back here. There was a great quote I got on this. Let's see. The Harvard Business Review quote was, "Influence and inspiration separates leaders from managers, not power and control." So I'll put that in chat too. Just a sec. But that quote really defines what I'm talking about. Creating value discussions. Yes, that's what we're here for tonight. So what else do I want to show you? Is there one more thing? I think that's good. I think we played show and tell enough. We're ready to go to questions. But we have good questions in, and we have a lot of them, a fair number. So I see the audience has grown again. That's probably the Fox Den here. We have 80 people. I'm Ethan Evans. We're talking about how to grow your career as an individual contributor without needing to manage people And specifically, there are two ways to do that: either increase your skill or increase your influence and your ability to get other people to do what your skill says they should do. So you can be a leader without being a manager, and that's how you get paid. And Q can. I love Twitch names, they're unpronounceable. Anyway, thank you for the sub, the tier 1 sub. Much appreciated. Let's go ahead and go to the first question, because I love to do questions. So the mods will pop that up. I'll go ahead and read it. And that question is, what are the limits of pushing what is expected of you by using the magic loop? How does overtime and work-life balance fit in this picture? This is a great question. So for anybody who hasn't heard it, I'll review the magic loop real quick. Magic loop I talked about earlier. It's my recommended way to grow your career, whether you're a manager or not. It's 5 steps. Do your job well. Ask your manager what they want you to do. Do it. Ask them if you can do something that you would like to do in line with the work. Go do that. Go around this loop as fast as you can. So this question is, how do you survive that? I love that the name was supposed to be impossible to pronounce. You nailed me. All right. So obviously the limits are your own willingness to put in overtime and how that impacts your life, but it's also how efficient you are at your work and how good you are at saying no. So I gave this example today. Consider if you work with others, whether it's on a school project or on a team at your office or anywhere you work, think about the best person you know and the worst person you know. Now, when you think about that best person, let's assume they don't get back to you on an email. Or even worse, that you ask them for something and they tell you, no, I can't do that right now. What do you think of that person who's normally very good and delivering a lot of value? You normally think, wow, that they must be busy. They must have a good reason. They're probably doing something important. Maybe I need to go do this myself or find someone less valuable to give it to. Or maybe I need to really explain to them why it needs their attention now. Now think of the bad person. Not bad person, sorry. The struggling person who's not very good at their job. Bad is a shorthand. When they tell you, when they don't respond to an email or get back to you or finish something you need, whether you're a manager and you assigned it to them, or whether they're a peer, what do you think? Do you think that, I got in trouble, my kids sometimes watch, that flippin' idiot, that freaking idiot, why didn't he do it? Why didn't she do it? It's just like them. Ugh, how long do we have to put up with them? Notice, same thing. You asked someone for something, you didn't get what you wanted. You got nothing. But who it is and their track record determines how you feel about that. So if you want to be effective and have the space to work on the stuff you want without working endless overtime and having some work-life balance, be valuable enough that the person you work for or the situation you work in, you can put the so-called shit work on other people. There is a whole profession, without being a jerk about it actually, of putting your shit work on other people. And that's simple. There is a hierarchy of how valuable people are in terms of money and to the success of the company. And there will be people who are paid to do the other work so that you can do the extremely valuable work if you're excellent at doing valuable work. So if you want to do only what you want and nothing else, be so damn good at it that people will let you get away with it. That goes right back to the Hollywood diva I talked about earlier. If you can be so good at looking pretty in a bathing suit or swimming, singing a song or acting, you don't have to do anything else in your life but that. Because people will wait on you hand and foot. they'll kiss your butt, and that's all from being so valuable. Now, you don't have to use that to abuse people and be like, oh, I dropped my dirty socks. Would you pick them up for me? You don't have to be that way. But the truth is, the more valuable you are, the more flexibility you get. The last thing I will say is on this show, I do trade in the science, or at least the perspective of reality. Overtime is a reality. If you want to be great at something, please, I hope for your sake, you're one of the few humans on earth that was born so gifted that you will be loved and adored and showered with every opportunity and buckets of money without working hard. For the 99.98% of the rest of us, and probably every viewer of this channel, and certainly me, hopefully you're pretty smart and well educated and whatever, but you're gonna have to bust your ass. You can balance that. The trick is, are you busting your ass in a specific direction towards a goal, or are you being told to flip hamburgers faster? That's a skill gap. That's influence. Okay, so we're going to keep going through questions. We have 80 viewers here, and most of the questions have 2 votes. I know we have some new viewers from the AWS community. If you want to vote, you have to take a second and create a Twitch account, log in, and then start the extension, which is a little icon at the right-hand edge of the screen. Chat, I see we keep popping up the ways to vote on questions, but help out some of the people and explain to newcomers who've never used an extension where and how they can go vote. Because I'll answer 2 vote questions, but 78 of you are missing out on your chance to decide what I do tonight. And I really am grateful for the audience tonight. This might be, without a raid, the biggest audience this show has ever had, and I am not surprised, because as an audience, we've been killing it. And yeah, Base Lemur, there's some AWS sales managers here. Yeah, you can also scroll the screen down and get the channel description of how to ask the questions. All right. And Dr. Jabri, that would be real if a few questions had... Now we see, I challenge people, I love it. Now there's a question with 6 votes and climbing. I hear mods saying the question link is wrong again. That is possible. It says Easy Coach rather than the Easy Coach. That's actually on me. I think it needs to go to the Easy Coach. Yep, that's my fault. I'm not going to try and change the hot link, but we'll have to do it manually for the rest of tonight. And that is my fault. I will change the chat bot as soon as I get offline. All right, I think I answered that question to death. The point is, the magic loop works great, and if you do it well, you don't have to work tons of overtime because you can delegate your work somewhere else. You just ask your boss a 2-part question. Hey, I want to do this high value thing we agreed to. Who can I give this other work to so that I can work on the thing you want? So we're going to go to the next question. How do you win over your peers to spend time supporting your project when they have competing priorities? Influence. Now that's a simple answer I gave smugly. So let me break that down a little bit. But if you want your peers to work on your priority, you're going to have to be influential with them if they have competing priorities. And what that means specifically is you're going to have to explain to them in a way that's convincing either why, oh, hey, thank you, Akbla. I haven't seen you here in a long time. I'm glad you like the new layout. And he's back for 7 months with Twitch Prime. You're going to have to influence, and you're going to have to help them see what we call with them. What's in it for me? People, and we've talked about this on other shows, other versions of the show, people only do what's in their emotional and personal self-interest. Yes, some of us are a little bit altruistic, or we feel a little bit of loyalty to the job, and we're like, I'm going to do what I believe is right. or I'm going to do what the company wants. But even then, understand we all like to be heroes of our own narrative. And so we're telling ourselves a story. We're breaking our arms, patting our own backs and saying, see, look at me. I'm a great person. I do the highest value work. I do what's needed. I do what I'm paid for, what the company wants. That's how we all think. We're always telling ourselves we're always telling ourselves, and yeah, plus David has put in the right link for questions, and I will fix the link in the bot after this. That's my fault for a typo. And it solves a long-term mystery of why questions were going into a black hole. I'm sorry for that. We'll fix it. Anyway, to be influential, therefore, you have to get inside my narrative and help me understand how I can be a hero doing what you want. That's essentially what influence is. Tell me how I can feel good about myself and get paid more or get accolades from my peers and boss by doing what you want. That is influence. How do I get to be the hero? And if there's anybody in chat who honestly can say they don't like to be the hero, I would say talk to Life Coach 724 and he will help you understand why it is you want to be the hero. Why it is you're lying to yourself, basically. So, there are some ways to convince people beyond just appealing directly to their motives. Give them data. You're an expert, remember. You've developed expertise. That's the point. Go give them data on what you're doing. Go give them reason. Go give them something based on why they should do what you want. And give them specific facts. Give them something to look at. Okay. Yeah, we did have a short freeze there. I'm not sure why the stream froze for a second. We have a bunch of people viewing in the house, but I think that should be okay. So we'll figure out the buffering and lagging, hopefully. And if not, it's all good. In any case, if you want to influence people, you can give them data, you can make a case. You also can get really good at asking questions. Ask them, I would like you to do this. What are you thinking? What is keeping you from doing this? The best way I've heard that question phrased is, under what circumstances would you do this? Because everyone can answer that question. Under what circumstances would you do this thing that you haven't done before? And I should mention, by the way, we're close to 100 viewers. That's a near record for this channel, which I appreciate all of you. If you haven't, please follow. And there's two reasons I want you to follow. Number one, click the follow button. It's the little heart on your screen. Number two, we're going to do something that takes chat participation in a minute. And if you haven't followed for at least a minute, you won't be able to chat. And we do some fun things at the end of the stream where you're going to want to be able to be active in chat. So, I'm glad some of you saw 101 viewers. That's fantastic. So on this question, you ask people, hey, look, what would it take for you to do this? Under what conditions would you? And then at least you know. So those are the ways to influence. Let's move on to the next question, but that's how you get people on your priorities. Fever, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you watching my videos on YouTube. Sign off and have a good night. I appreciate you sleeping. I get that. And catch up on YouTube. We'll put YouTube here. By the way, I have a lot of back content on YouTube you can always get a hold of, as well as old content on podcasts. So our previous shows are all published as podcasts on every major podcast platform. Mods, let's roll to the next question. It's a long one. I'm going to take a deep breath for this one. Managers may have power, but a leader who is also a manager would likely lean towards influence and inspiration over power anyway. Would it be helpful as a manager to exemplify this for individual contributors on your team. Any examples of how to encourage influence and inspiration? And the whole question doesn't even show up in our subtopic, but it's a great question. Thank you for this question and all the people who voted on it. Keep putting in questions and voting in Q&A. We have a lot of people there, and I'm eager to talk to you. This is a great question. Yeah, model. Don't give orders, give motive. We just talked about the book. Maybe it's still over. Let me swap to it. We just talked about the book Start With Why. You don't start with, damn it, I'm the boss, do what I said. You start with, hey, here's why you should be doing things. There are other books on this, but you start by helping people get aligned with the vision and the goals that you're pursuing, rather than being focused on giving orders. If you're an order giver, what you will get around you is order takers and people who model you. This is employees, all of us. I'm not going to insult anyone. Hey, thank you, Akba, for the bits, getting you into second place. For anyone, we are all just like children. And I demean no one by saying that. We do what we see. I work at Amazon. The culture I come from is largely modeled off of who Jeff Bezos is and how Jeff Bezos wants people to lead. So if you want to have your team act a certain way, show them that. And rather than ordering people, try to convince them. Try to give them motive. Try to tell them why. Try to show them data. Invite their questions. Today, I set priorities with my team. I did a big talk online inside work, kind of internal Twitch broadcast yesterday on prioritization. And this morning, I was feeling bad about having not prioritized my team as well as I could. So I went in eager this morning to earn my pay before 9 a.m., which is something I love to try and do, and before noon if I can't do it otherwise. And I shared out my priorities with the team for what I thought we should be doing. But I said, look, if you agree with these, great, go do it. If you don't agree with them, tell me and let's discuss it. That's leading through influence. I was clear about what I believed, but I didn't tell people, these are our new priorities. I expect them done. Go. I said, you guys are leaders. Come back to me if you disagree. And one of my leaders immediately came back and said, I don't see it that way. I think these other things are more important, and started giving me a different list. So, and that's a good debate. We'll meet tomorrow. But I have to get him on board, because he runs 100 people on my team. And if he's not doing what I've recommended, if he doesn't agree, he's not going to do it. So in a big organization, you can only lead through influence. It would be cool for you to share what you do in your average workday in Amazon another time. Yep, Dr. Jabri, I've done that show with Devin Nash where I actually brought a week of my calendar onto his show and we went through it. But I would be happy to redo that show here. By the way, thank you, Relive Sports, for rating. I think I know who that is, and welcome in. I'm glad to have you here. It says check audio, please. That's weird. I don't know what that would be, but I messed with the audio, so hopefully it should be fine now. Yeah, I know what's causing the echo. That's my bad. We'll just mute that and be done with it. There should be no echo at all now. All right, moving on. Where was I? Oh, right. Okay. So, Dr. Jabri asked what I do. I'd be happy. There is one thing. I want to encourage everybody to join Discord. We have a channel there about future topics, stream suggestions. One of the things that's gone really well on a couple streams is we've had a series of what amount to call in or video in guests. And I've done this a bunch with Devin. We did the resume review. We've done it here. We've done it on his channel. We did the interview royale, a battle royale style interview. We're probably going to do a show together on asking for raises, where we're going to let audience members come in and role play with us, trying to squeeze a raise out of two obnoxious bosses. It should make good television, and it should be super educational, because we will come prepared to make you feel bad about asking for a raise and give you every possible objection in the book, and we'll see who gets the money. But the point is, I love your suggestions for what shows I should be doing, and Discord is a place to put them in. Maybe we'll do that show here. We could start doing shows like that if this audience of my regulars wants to come on this show and have fun like that, realizing that sometimes the best fun is a little bit edgy and harsh. So if you're bold, come on up and come get it. All right. We've killed that question. We've beaten it to death. We have a question with 9 votes. That's awesome. Mods, let's roll to that. It says, you showed the graph that contrasts management and leadership. How does one know when to break the rules in the diagram? So let me put that back up while I'm talking about it so that people who came in know what I'm saying. Give me one sec. Okay, I was talking about this diagram. And somewhere in here it says break the rules, and then on management it says follow the rules. Okay, this is tough. I don't want to get anybody fired. At the same time, everyone bends the rules. Tell me honestly in chat that you don't ever speed. Why do you speed? Well, you want to get somewhere fast. I got it. But why else do you speed? Oh, these ads are killing me. We just got to blow this up till they don't show anymore. Bing, bing. There we go. Goodbye, ads. I just demonetized their page. I'm a bad person. Okay. So anyway, why do you speed? You want to go somewhere, right? But you also speed because in the back of your mind is, hey, I'm unlikely to get caught, and I'm going to get there faster. And even if I do get caught, it's kind of going to suck, but I can survive having 3 points on my license and the $100 or $200 because I'm probably not going to get caught. So we all break rules all the time. You've got to decide what rules you're going to break. I am not talking here about breaking rules like embezzle from the company or pay bribes. Those are pretty serious rules to break that A, are unethical, and B, can put you in jail. So I would recommend against breaking those rules. But basically, companies are full of bureaucratic bullshit. And you got to find, no work gets done by following every rule. It just doesn't. Think about your workday. Do you answer every email? Are you supposed to? Do you go to every meeting? Do you file every piece of paperwork? Do you only buy things from the cheapest vendor? No. You find ways to do the right thing. So I guess what I would say is the difference between break the rules and follow the rules is, does this rule apply here and does it make sense? And then also, someone in chat says it's managing risk and your edge. That's exactly right. You have to decide the risk reward. Is this rule applicable? And is the pain of going around it worth the results? Yeah, Fungaroo. It's more of a guideline. That is exactly right. The quote obviously is from Pirates of the Caribbean. And I love when the bad pirate says to the heroine, well, she's quoting the rules of piracy. And he says, they're more like guidelines. And yeah, you can break the pirate code. How do you decide when? Is it worth it? Can you pay the penalty? Can you face up to paying the penalty? So I haven't had story time yet tonight. And I see Mad John Dunn is saying this is his question. I'll come back to that right after story time. So here's story time. Early in my career, our company, this is long before Amazon, was going to do a layoff. And I was a new manager. I had a team of like 8. And my boss came to me and said, we're doing a layoff today, and we're going to be laying off people around the building. I want to let you know that you and your team are not affected. You can't tell anyone, though. I said, okay. And she was very clear, don't tell anyone. And I thought about this, and I thought, that sucks. Like, my team's going to be terrified. So I went to my most senior engineer, and I asked him for consultation. I said, look, there's going to be a layoff today. Our team's not affected. Should I tell my team? Should we get the team together, and should I tell them? And Pashi's right, but you're spoiling the story. Yeah. So what I did is he said, you should definitely tell them. So I said, okay, go get everyone in a conference room down on a different floor. You go get them, and I'll tell them. So we gather all my team in a room, and I say, look, there's a layoff coming today, and I don't know anything about it, and I'm not supposed to tell you, but I want all of you to know if you hear about it or see problems, you're not affected. And right then my boss walks in the room, and she looks at me and is like, what in the hell are you doing? I just told you like 10 minutes ago, don't tell anyone, and here you are telling everyone. So, you know, I'm a kid. God, I'm 25, managing my first team, and it's like double facepalm. And now I wonder if suddenly the layoff is going to affect my team, right? So that's a case where I broke a rule. I did it because I wanted to help people, and I got caught. My boss threw everybody else out of the room, and she said, why did you do that? And I said, I told her why. And she said, look, I understand why you did it. I actually do. It's something I'd have done when I was your age, but it's a bad decision, and now I can't trust you on this stuff. So I paid a price. So if you're going to break rules, be ready to pay the price. Here's my bottom line for Mad John Dunn and everyone else. Results are usually worth more than following every rule. I talked about earlier, if you're a top performer and they don't, someone that you know who's great and they don't deliver something, they get forgiveness. Someone who stinks, whose work stinks, and they don't deliver something, they get fired because it's the last straw. Broadly speaking, you can break all kinds of rules and get caught if you're delivering enough value. And if you're not delivering enough value, you're going to have to follow more rules. It's called latitude. It's called having earned respect or earned your stripes or in the mob made your bones. So we're going to go back to full screen me. That's the answer, which is following the rules all the time is not worth it. It will slow you down, but you have to be valuable enough, and you have to have delivered enough and have a track record of success that when you screw up, people will give you a break. And when you don't screw up, or when your few screw ups will be outweighed by your many successes. Now remember, last thing I will say, there are a few rules you shouldn't break. It's not only amoral, but in the Me Too era, you shouldn't put your hands on other people. You shouldn't tell them, sleep with me or I'll fire you, or I'll promote you if you do. That will still get you fired no matter how good you are. And so don't do that stuff. But if it's in the line, and by the way, that doesn't help you deliver for the company. You will get a lot more forgiveness breaking rules if you're trying to do something good than breaking rules if you're trying to do something awful. If you're trying to do something awful, you make it easy for the company to come after you. Because if you're trying to embezzle from them, you can't be like, well, I'm really productive and I just wanted some extra money and I thought this was the easiest way to get it. But they'll let you break other rules. All right, we've killed this question. Let's go to the next one. And somebody said earlier that my advice, hyena, I think, just kill it. Well, we're killing each question. So What should be your goal at any networking event? Wow. Make connections. This one hasn't popped up yet, but the question was, what should your goal be at any networking event? There it is. We'll answer this one, by the way, and then we'll go to the question of the day. So if you haven't logged in, we're going to have a huge question of the day because we have 90 people here. So log in so you're going to be able to chat. But what should your goal be at any networking event? Your goal should be either renew existing connections if you know some people, or meet some new people. Find out about them. Find out who can help you with what you want. And don't be a jerk and only be interested in yourself. But any networking event, the simplest thing to do is ask questions. People love to talk about themselves. I was at a networking event last night, and it's for my charity, the Washington Trails Association, where I'm on the board. And we were hosting volunteers. And there was this woman who looked lost. And I could see she was walking around with a tray of hors d'oeuvres or a plate of hors d'oeuvres looking for a place. And I had my back to her. And I moved aside at the little table we were standing at so she had a space. And she was so grateful. And we started to talk to her. And she asked a question, though. She said, "Hey, thank you for inviting me over. What's your favorite trail?" Well, duh, it's a bunch of hikers. They love to talk about that. And we brought more people in. And a few minutes later, I was able to excuse myself and go host some other folks. The point is, it was easy. Everyone else at a networking event wants to meet people too. And most people are fairly polite. Your goal should be make connections. Almost everyone in life has something they can offer you. They can be an ear, but more than that, they may not know how to help you, but they can introduce you to other people. And so even if they don't know exactly who you want, or they can't help you get promoted or grow your skills or whatever, they know someone else. So you just ask them and you say, "Look, I'm a lawyer. I really want to get better at corporate law or contract law or tax law or whatever. Who do you know is best in the field that I might talk to? Or what's your most interesting thing you've run into?" Kristen is the ultimate networker here. She loves things like this. So what she says in chat, you can also just learn by listening. That's another thing you can do at a networking event. So look, we'll do the question of the day now. But I think at a networking event, just get comfortable talking to people and making friends, and let the rest happen naturally. Networking doesn't have to be hell. It can be a drink in your hand and chatting with folks and learning. All right. So for those of you who don't know, here's how question of the day works. And everybody's going to want to jump in. For 14 weeks now, we've been doing the question of the day from Arthur Aaron and his research that it brings people closer together as the questions get more intimate. And in fact, you were just talking about networking. The question of the day is the sort of thing that shows we're building a network here in this channel. And we've all seen, as we've answered these, that if you expose a little bit of who you are and share something genuine, people will share more in response. So the week 14 question has two parts, and I'm going to let people answer the first part. And like always, I'll also answer. Question 14 is there something you've dreamt of doing for a long time? And of course, implied in that is, what is it? So what is something you've dreamed of doing for a long time, but you haven't done yet? So rattle them off in chat. We got tons of active regulars in chat. Tell me what it is you've dreamed of doing for a long time. I'd really like to know. Last week's chat was super interesting. For me, there's a long list. I love to travel. Everybody knows that. I want to grow the show big. Everybody knows that. What is something else I've dreamed of doing for a long time? Okay, I'll tell you. I have a secret desire, which now won't be secret, to take a flight on a private plane. I've never done it. Like, not a little puddle jumper, not like a sightseeing plane. I want to take a jet somewhere, just once. And so I haven't gotten to do it. And I want to do it just because it seems like it'd be cool. Like roll up to the airport, skip going inside, get on a jet, and fly somewhere, someplace small and obscure, and that other people don't go. And so that's one thing I can think of off the top of my head. I've always wanted to do. All right, so some of your answers: opening up a brewery or distillery, Matchstick Man, awesome. Draw portraits, Ether Night, kayaking, try living in another city. So, Yo Hi Fei, you got to tell us where you live then, if you want. Octane 105, skydive. Yeah, that's on my list too. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Japan, North Korea, or maybe that's where Pashi thinks I want to fly. Nightcom Lorente. I think one of the key points here. Okay, that's obviously a long point about networking, so I'll skip that. VP of Amazon never took a private jet. That is true. If you want to look up our values on Amazon, they are about frugality. One of our leadership principles is about frugality. I have flown to Bangalore, India 5 times, and I have flown completely around the world twice. I am 6'2.5", and I have done it all in coach, because Amazon doesn't buy VPs or anybody else business class or first class tickets. We spend the money giving discounts on product. So if you want to fly in business class, don't come to Amazon. If you want to do interesting work, come to Amazon, and ideally be a little shorter than me. All right, Pink Dragons, open a karaoke martini bar. Furrow Key, a half Ironman. What is the secret item behind you this time? That is for later, but we showed it right at the beginning. It's not behind me, it's in front of me, and I'll put it up later. Let's see. T Weirdo, all over Australia and New Zealand. I guess that's travel. All right, so here's the punchline to this question. And now everybody who's answered, answer this. Why haven't you done it yet? And I will answer as well, but I appreciate everybody answering here. My answer is I'm cheap. I could probably, a private jet costs about $5,000 an hour to take somewhere. And you can't go, Seattle is at least an hour from everywhere. So I'm just not willing to spring the $5,000 yet. So I concoct plans in my head, though, to get a bunch of friends together. Because if you had, a private jet holds 6 or 8 people, the smaller ones, the ones you can get for $5,000, the other ones are more. But if you have 6 or 8 people together and you're going to go somewhere for like a weekend or a party or an event or a concert, 8 people times $5,000, or divided into $5,000 is $600, and that's like the cost of a regular plane ticket. So I think I'll do this sometime, but my thing is I'm too cheap. So that's an honest answer. Sorry, I'm frugal. It's the same reason I was okay flying around the world in coach. So now we'll read some of the answers, and then we'll go back to the questions you all have asked. But I love you folks sharing about yourself. It helps me get to know the audience. Pashi, I'm lazy and I lack qualifications to step up my career. Currently working on it. Pashi, you've been very honest about some things, particularly in Discord, and I appreciate you sharing here. Ether Night, been too busy learning to draw and always gets bumped down on the list. Fair. Let's see. Dr. Jabri, I would like to run my own videography business, but I haven't done it because I fear failure. So that's the most common answer. I took the safe route and I'm studying computer science, but I'm not passionate about it. Oh boy, fear of failure. So this is probably a lot of people's hidden answer. We talk about this book all the time, Rejection Proof. It's not the only part of fearing failure. But Rejection Proof is a great book by Jia Jiang. It's a great book about how to overcome at least the fear of rejection and understand that life is long, and you can life is long and you can overcome a lot of setbacks with time. So Dr. Jabber, you can study computer science and still figure out videography. That computer science degree won't go away. or you can put it on hold and go back to it. I don't know your personal circumstances. I see Nightcom Lorente here says you're limited by, I think you're saying your visa. That sucks, but I get it. But that's not forever. Ghosty Banana, is it okay to have nothing I really desire? I guess so. I mean, I wouldn't want that for all of life. It is good to be content. So if you're at a place where you're content, that's fantastic. I think even people who are content, though, still should have dreams. If you're really saying you don't have any dreams, you don't have to be like sad because you don't get them. But is there nothing you want to do at all? That feels a little sad. Fungaroo says, always felt like there's an unrecognized fear of success as well. All right. Yeah, so Pashi, the 10-10-10 rule you cite is really good. That's a rule for anybody who doesn't know it is think about doing something or failing something and how will you feel about it 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years later. And the truth is, if you think about your past failures, probably 10 minutes later you felt really bad. Maybe 10 months later you felt kind of bad, but 10 years later you probably didn't care. All right, we'll go back to being on topic now. We've had a good long show. We're an hour in. We've been crushing it on questions about being an IC, and we've had a huge audience. So I want to invite that audience one final time. If you have questions you want me to answer, most of you are logged in now. Some of you can go vote, and you can vote in our extension or at the link that Plus David has been putting in on our what I answer for the final few questions. And I love this, and we're going to get to a bunch of them. For anybody else, I will give a pre-advertisement. We talked about taking risks here. My show on the 18th on Monday, just 5 days from now, is going to be on taking risks. So come back in 5 days and we'll talk about how to judge risk, how to manage risk, how to recognize risk, and when to take it specifically. And then a week after that, I'm going to have the head of Amazon's student recruiting program here. And we're going to talk about how we do the crazy numbers of hires we do, where we do 3,000 college hires in computer science. So Dr. Jabri, there's hope, although you want to do something else. And 3,000 interns every year. And no, Garvey is head of Twitch student relationships. I'm talking about Amazon's US-wide head of campus recruiting. So, okay, we're going to hit the next question. How do you network with someone in real life and leverage that into a job opportunity? So I assume this could mean a few things. And so I'm going to have to interpret this question a couple different ways. Let's assume first you've built a network on LinkedIn and you're reaching out to someone about a job opportunity. It's better if you've kept that relationship warm so they don't feel used. But it's okay to be straight up about what you're looking for. And you just go to them and say, hey, we're connected. We have XYZ in common, cite anything in common. We went to the same school. We like the same music. I noticed you're a sports ball fan of this sports ball franchise or that sports ball franchise. Anything you can cite in common. And then you say, look, I really want to join your company. Can you tell me more about it? Can you ask them a question? Get them talking about themselves. Can you tell me what you like about it? Can you tell me what you've found best and most challenging? Don't just say, hey, will you recommend me? Get them talking about the company. Ask them to share their expertise. Honestly, ask them if they would recommend it. It's possible they hate it and they will tell you, you know what? Never come here. Or they'll tell you honestly, like I did, if you want to fly first class, don't come to Amazon. If you want to do amazing stuff, come to Amazon. So you get honest answers. Second, if you don't have a specific job in mind, but you're just talking to somebody to find jobs, same thing. Ask them questions, get them talking about them, show interest in them before asking them to show interest in you. And you can totally say, hey, we'll take Dr. Jabri here for a second. I'm a newly graduating computer science major. Where do you think I should look to apply myself? What would you recommend? You don't say, can you get me a job at your company? You say, where I'm interested in this or I'm interested in that. If they want to sell you on their company, no one will recommend or push you as hard as when they've sold themselves on you. So I think FurrowKey was here earlier. FurrowKey did a live interview on my channel, and I referred him into Twitch to get an internship. But he didn't ask for that. He just came on the channel and interviewed. And as I interviewed him, I realized, hey, you'd be great for Twitch. And I said, have you ever considered Amazon or Twitch? And he said, yeah, I'd really like to work at Twitch. And then I referred him in. He didn't ask. He never actually asked. And, you can go watch that show. You can see he never actually asked for a referral or help. Be human. Simplest possible advice for networking as well as managing or leading. Treat other people like you wish they'd treat you. So if you're wondering how to network or how you should approach someone at a networking event, just ask, how would you like to be approached? All of you are an expert at something. All of you have some expertise. If someone was going to come ask you about your expertise or your connections, how would you like to be asked? Then do that. All right, great. Next question. Yeah, FurrowKey, you better get this job, buddy, because the pressure and the expectations are high. No extra pressure or anything. All right. But we're all pulling for you. We will have a big celebration. You have to come put your offer letter on screen with us, right? We'll bring you on, or you can send it to me. We'll black out any salary data. And if you get through, we should celebrate as a channel. Would everybody like that? I think that would be awesome. So I'm really pulling for him. He's a good guy. All right. How do you properly communicate to management when projects being assigned to you are on the way of I think this is supposed to be in the way of your actual job and negatively influencing your KPIs? I've done through a conversation once, but projects haven't stopped. I feel like I am being set up for failure. So one possibility is that you are, not intentionally, but remember, bosses like me, we get excited about asking for more. And if you keep saying yes, we'll keep asking. It's just human. Can you do this? Can you do that? I have all this shit on my plate. Can you take this? Can you take that? It's not personal. So one thing you have to do is communicate. The second thing, though, is you say you're communicating and the projects haven't stopped. Give data. Here are the 7 things you ask for this week. Here is my priority order. I'm working on them. Is this priority, Mr. Boss, Ms. Boss, Mrs. Boss, something you agree, like, is this the priority you want them in? When do you need them by? What are the deadlines? Are there extra resources? You give data. But if you give the boss the list and the priority, and you point out and say, I am willing to do any one of these you want first, but I've put them in priority order by my KPIs, key performance indicators, for anyone who doesn't know KPI. If you go through them, usually bosses will choose if forced. It takes a real jerk boss to say, yeah, boy, I don't know. I see you have 17 things. you're going to have to work a lot. Like, I feel like we should, in that case, play the clip from Office Space where the terrible boss is like, yeah, so I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday. So if you haven't seen that clip, you can go find it. But the point is, don't work for that boss. Get out. So. All right. The mojito is almost gone, but it's been awesome. So that's one way to time the show, how much drink is left. All right. So basically, the way to stop it is to expose it. Be really public about it. Tell your boss the list of stuff and how you're prioritizing by KPI. And if they come and, yeah, Fungaroo says Lumberg. That's right. That's the boss in question. What was that whiskey again? Here we go. It's the hidden object I promised to bring back out. It's Suspect Jalapeno, Pineapple Jalapeno. And this is a little pony bottle. And they did tell me it wasn't empty. Quite. So maybe we should just refill the glass with some straight whiskey. Ooh, this is going to be good now. So now there's straight whiskey in the glass. So the show will get more exciting faster. All right. So I think I've actually answered that really well. I think I've answered the way to handle that. And so we're going to move on. And the next question is one I wanted to get to. Pineapple spicy whiskey. Yeah, that's right. It's good straight, too. All right. So the next question is, how did Mad John 123 handle his situation? And his situation, for anybody who doesn't know, Mad John 123, he's a student. And he must be pretty damn smart. And I forget where he was. I think maybe he said Charlotte, or maybe that was somebody else. But it doesn't matter. He got a job. He's going through school as a developer. But he got a local company to give him internships and to agree to pay part of his college. So good for him. That's hustle. Like, this kid is on the way. He's already head and shoulders above so many people. Like most of you here in chat, he's watching this and he discovered me through either Devin or directly, and he's motivated to improve himself. But the problem he gave me is he said, look, I've built my skills. I've worked here a couple years. I'm way more valuable. And I've asked my boss for a raise. And unlike most people, by the way, 70% of people who ask for a raise get one. So if you've never asked, you're leaving money on the table. But he asked and his boss said no. And apparently he's asked a couple of times. And he must, now, some of you could say, this would be reasonable to suspect, maybe they're not giving him a raise because he sucks. But assuming he's telling me the truth, that isn't so. And the reason is there were layoffs at his company. And he wasn't laid off. They kept him. So it's easy to fire the intern. Instead, they're giving him more work. So he's like, I already gained skill, but now they're giving me more work, and they still won't pay me more. Now, Pashi says time to leave. The problem is his contract says if he leaves before graduating and working for 2 years, he has to pay back all the college money. So Pashi and others, leaving is really tough. So he and I talked about this in Discord. We went back and forth, and he's got some options. Number one, he can leave anyway. He can stick it to him and say, look, here's how it is, folks. Pay me more or I'm out of here. And the way to do that, so Mad John Dunn is giving us more context, but it says he'd owe $20,000 if he left. So one thing you can do is bail, pull the ripcord and say, you know what? You guys are broke. You're firing people. If you want to waste money on a lawyer chasing a student, good luck with that. It's going to look horrible for you. And if you get a judgment against me, I got nothing to pay you. So maybe you'll get your money back 5 years from now when I graduate. But until then, you're screwed. See ya. It's a pretty good bluff. potentially, if the contract is valid, they could win if they bothered. The second thing he can do, in my opinion, and in chat, I love it when chat jumps in and gives him opinions. If you all have better plans than I do, stick them in chat and tell him what he should do. Because I see us as a community, and a quote I like is that all of us is smarter than any one of us, and that includes me. I love that you listen to me and you hang out here to chat with me, but if you have better ideas for Mad John Dunn, we want to help him, and I want you to help him. What I told him was the second thing you can do is you can go find another company that will pay you more and get them to buy out your contracts. You get them to want you, and then you say, oh, by the way, I owe this other company $20,000 if I break their contract. So when you hire me, you're going to have to pay up $20,000 for them too. And that might be really hard during an internship, but when he graduates, there's a lot of companies on earth that for a top performer with a track record or with a lot of skills might pay 20 grand to buy him out. In the grand scheme of things, in computer science and in technology, 20 grand isn't that much. Now, the third thing he can do is he can go the nice way, and he can deliver this project he said he's on, and he can keep negotiating, keep asking, keep the pressure on. You can also play these strategies in combination. You can threaten. You can go to the boss and say, look, I just delivered this. You're struggling. You need me. I'm cheap. Pay me more. I've earned it. Show the value. Prove the value. One of the things I told him to think about, though, is think about the optics. And Pashi, this plays into what you said. Think about the optics of him asking for a raise when they're laying off full-time people. Imagine if it gets out that the intern got a raise. Meanwhile, I'm sure they've told all their full-time people, hey, we're really sorry. We know you have 2.4 kids and your mother-in-law is in the hospital, but we can't pay you more right now. And then they find out the intern got a raise. So he would have to play it really cool and not put his leadership over a barrel that way. But you have to tell that story in a positive way. So, all right. I basically told him those are his choices. I don't know enough of his situation or his personality or his comfort with risk to know between the show more value and keep working on the boss versus the big bold moves. So I'll let him interact with you guys in chat, and I'll read it for a second while I drink whiskey to catch up. Yeah. So he's got a really tough situation. The last thing I told him is sometimes you got to put your head down and just deal with it. And what I mean by that is sometimes you have to be a little patient. He was lucky enough to get somebody to pay part of his college and to get an internship basically coming out of high school. That's incredible. That company did bet on you. Like they invested in you early. And sometimes you just have to honor that and suck it up. Like another thing is, I know if you're young, college seems like forever. I'm 50, so college seemed very short and long ago. So let Grandpa here tell you honest, maybe you just live with it for a year or two. That is like option 4. So, and I'm not actually a grandpa yet, thank God. Because then I'll have 2.4 grandkids, and I'm not ready for that yet. Okay. Let's see. We got a couple more good questions here, and then we're going to wrap it up for the night because dinner's waiting. You folks have been fantastic. What a great audience today. Thank you. Quick reminder, I'll be back Monday at 6 p.m., the 18th, and we'll talk about taking risks. A 20K GoFundMe. I love it. That's a great idea. Um, or a show. I'm also going to do a show on the 25th where I'll have the head of Amazon recruiting here. And then Devin and I join our Discord and suggest in the streaming suggestions shows that we should do here in the future or shows Devin and I should do together. Because I'm seeing Devin for dinner Friday night, and we're going to talk about our next show schedule then. All right. We're going to hit up the next question, and that question is, when it comes to vacations, how much will taking a vacation hurt your advancement potential? Oh boy, you'll get me hot on this one. If it hurts your advancement potential, get the hell out of that company. Like, that's ridiculous. Everyone should, if you're at a company that literally punishes people for taking a little time off, you have an unenlightened manager. You have a manager who is no fun, who's burning his life out. He or she is soulless. And your life is too short for that shit. Actually, I skipped over this. Thank you. Here's how I'm going to answer this. It was something I meant to bring up when we asked that other question. I got to switch cameras. Hold on. Or switch scenes. So this blog, I can't wait to share with you. I found this through someone, and I will keep answering this question in a minute. But this blog is incredible. And I'm going to put it on the screen, and we're going to go through it. So hold on. Here we go. All right, I'm going to blow it up a little bit. It's called Wait But Why. I haven't read the guy's whole blog. I was sent this particular one. And we'll blow it up until we get rid of the ads, or at least minimize some of them. So this guy did some math and visualization on human lifespan. Now, I know a lot of you are young, and so 90 years seems like friggin' forever. But remember, I'm 50, so if I buy this guy's thing, I'm more than halfway done, and that sucks. He seems to be like 30. So here's your life pictured in months. Think about that. That's pretty ugly. We can fit your life in months on one little damn screen. Now you have someone telling you can't take vacation? Really? This person has seriously misplaced priorities. But let's keep going. Here's your life, or my life, in weeks. And that's 55 years on the screen. Okay, so we're going to scroll down. Like, I'm already 50. That's what I got left right there. Brutal. Every time I see you guys and talk to you, I have to make one more X in one of these boxes. And I can't take vacation? Screw you, buddy. Okay? Get a grip. I will go somewhere else. All right, I told you I was going to be fired up. Okay, we're going to keep going. Here's all the days in a 90-year human life. 2 rows equals a year. Each section is a decade. That's every day. Cross off a dot. Yikes. Now we get to some fun stuff he does, okay? This guy says he's 34. He's pointing out he only has 60 winters left. Well, I like to ski. That's important, and I got only half as many rows left as he does. Okay. Let's keep going. Super Bowls. I got less than that. Every Super Bowl. I like hockey, but whatever. Every Stanley Cup. Anything you like. Like, this is a pretty concrete way to think about stuff. Now, he swims in the ocean. I like to swim too, but I don't swim in the Washington State Ocean. It's too damn cold. Thinking about you're only going to get in the ocean 20, 30 more times. That's very real. And now you have some jackass telling you, sorry, I'm not going to promote you if you take a vacation so you can swim in the ocean. No, thank you. Please go away. Okay, come to Amazon. I told you you have to fly in coach class and we'll work you hard, but you can take a damn vacation and you'll have the money to go to an ocean or go to the Super Bowl or go skiing. Go to Twitch. Go anywhere other than where you are. Now, I will answer the actual question, but it's so much fun to rant about this because I value enjoying my life. Books. I was thinking about this today. So I believe what this guy believes, right? I feel like I have an endless number of books I'm going to read in my future. But he reads 5 books a year, so he has 300 books left. Well, I probably only really read 5 to 10 books a year, so I have between, 200 and 400 books left if I live till 90. And the idea that every book I choose is one of only 200 left suddenly you want to choose really well. Okay, he likes the Red Sox. I'll try not to hold that against him. We'll move on from that comment. Presidents. Yeah, I have less than this probably, although, it looks like we might speed up our pace of presidents, but that's a separate topic. He likes to eat dumplings. This is all the dumplings he thinks he'll get to eat. That's pretty cool. Like that looks pretty good. I'm scrolling. There you go. What else? Now he gets heavy and he talks about time he'll spend with his parents. And this is all parents with red X's through them because he moved away from home. And so he's only got this little amount of time left with parents. And when I showed this blog to my wife, we had a very real discussion about how we're spending time with the people we love the most. And I agree with it. So look, I've made the point. Read the blog yourself. These are his 3 lessons. Living in the same place as people you love matters, priorities matter, and quality time matters. Well, I'm going to switch back to your question because this is completely on topic for my rant, and I appreciate you prompting my rant because ranting is fun. You wanted to know, when it comes to vacation, how much will taking a vacation hurt your advancement potential? Who cares? Some things in life aren't worth it. And if you have a boss who's going to hold you back, get out. But honest answer. Also honest answer. Second answer. Taking a vacation honestly shouldn't hurt your advancement potential. But don't do it at the wrong time. Don't do it right before a project is due. At Amazon, for example, the retail business, which I don't work in, is driven around fourth quarter leading up to Christmas. So if you work in the retail business, you basically can't take vacation in November or December because the company needs you. So don't plan a vacation or swear that you have to go on a vacation right during the worst time for your business or for your boss. Be thoughtful about it. Absolutely insist on time to have your life your way, because nobody ever died saying, God, if only I had spent more time at work, if only I had worked more. Nobody says that. So have some balance. You need to work in order to live. You might think because I'm an executive and because I've had a lot of success, I live in order to work. I don't. I work so that I can do all the other great stuff that if you join our Discord, you'll see in the travel channel where we share pictures of different places we go and where people in the channel go. But I travel. Anyway, I'm off topic. Work in order to live. Work hard. Be good at it because you need money. You need to support a family. You got debts to pay off like Mad John Dunn. That's great. The point of this show, my goal is to make all of you good enough and successful enough so that you have the money, the freedom, and the respect to take vacations and influence others. So thank you for being here because you're giving me a chance to buy you out of some of my mistakes and to help you do better than I did, faster than I did. I hope to hell you're helping others, and instead of being 50 when you do it, you're 30 or 40. I don't know if Elite Hephaestus is here tonight. He's in the channel a lot. A lot of you are very helpful, but he's a boss, runs his own company, and he's younger than I am, and God bless him. The point is, I'm here to help you not have to do it the hard way, and so you can do the fun stuff. You can even go to the Red Sox if that's your thing. All right. I see some of you have watched this guy on other channels. That's great. Kristen, it doesn't need to be depressing. It's about prioritizing so you spend your life well. I know that you have young kids. Prioritize that time because they will grow up. You've heard that. How many rants do I have left? God, I hope a lot. But I'll put this out here. I read something interesting. No one knows when they make love for the last time. No one knows. They're thinking, no one while they're making love is thinking, this is it, I'm done, I'm dying tomorrow. This is it, I'm never going to get the chance to be close to someone again. You have to treasure every experience like it's the last because you don't know. And there's someone very close to my wife and I. She lost someone in her life completely suddenly. Bang, he was gone. Devastating. And you don't know when that could happen to you. So treasure that and arrange your life. Insist on boundaries in your life. And if people don't respect them, change jobs. All right. We've been all over that. You will never make love for the last time if you stay a virgin. Well, or in a computer science sense, maybe you already have. All right. And that's sad too. All right. Let's see. Next question. How do you find the results for certain project that you help to finish? What are the best ways to find the numbers and talk further about your results? So this question will pop up in a second. Here we go. I don't know where you work, sir or ma'am, but go ask questions. Somebody knows the results. Go find those results. Go ask the person. Go ask finance. Go ask sales. Your project had a point and a goal. If you finished a project, it had some goal. Who wanted it? And did the goal happen? I think this is about asking questions. And most people, again, if you ask them questions, they like to talk. Maybe your project's like super secret. I don't know, like if you work undercover as a cop or in the military or you're a spy, maybe your stuff gets hidden in espionage and you'll never know. But I think this is a matter of asking and trying to get at the data. And if you just ask honestly, ask your boss, ask whoever and say, look, we finished project bullshit or project TPS report. And I was wondering, how did it do? How could I find out more? I'll do it on my own time. Could I read the report? Could I see the data? Just ask. That CS comment felt like a personal attack. Furuki, you've lost me, man. I hope somebody else is attacking you. And not me. I didn't mean to attack anyone personally, though. All right. But let's see. We're going to move on because I think this is a matter of ask and then share. Get the data. And if the data isn't captured, ask how you can do it for the next project. Hey, how are we going to track this project? Okay. How can leadership be convinced in the value of rewarding individual contributors? And how do you measure or prove that value? Okay. The word prove has a misconception. Proving value unless you're a salesperson is basically impossible. So it's not going to happen. So sorry. Get that out of your head. But you can measure value and then influence and point to it. Proving is in the eye of the beholder. Personal human performance is extremely hard to prove. What you can do, though, is show your value. And that comes down to two things, measurement and asking for feedback. Go to your boss or your leaders and say, what do you value? What is important to you that I do? We talked about the magic loop a few times at the beginning of this show. And in the magic loop, which I won't repeat for the 50th time, you can go back and watch it again. You're asking your management what they want. So then you can go back to them later and say, I did that work. How was it? Did I hit what you wanted? Was it valuable like you expected? What could I do better? Now, people sometimes ask me, isn't the magic loop where you ask people what they want you to do, isn't that just a way to get exploited? Where the boss is like, this is fantastic. I have an idiot who keeps asking me. I'll just keep asking for more. Yes, some bosses are jerks. I get it. But most are not. Further, if you're delivering value, even the jerk bosses can be threatened. Hey, I'm busting my ass for you. You know, guess what? I want more money or I'm not going to keep doing it. I know I'm delivering twice as much as the loser over there. Say it all nicer. I'm delivering a lot for you. I expect to be compensated for that because Acme Inc. will compensate me more. There's a lot of ways to say it. in our Discord, we had a thing on salary negotiation. There was a good blog posted. I don't have it handy here. I'd put it in chat. But basically, you can convince leadership. This quote reads, I want to turn this around. I am a leader, and I want to be convinced of your value. Do good work. Show me the impact. Don't be a pain in my ass complaining. I will want to promote your career and pay you more. Look at my behavior on channel with Furrowkey. First, I want to know why he's sad. But second, when he came on and interviewed, my thought was, how can I help him find a great internship? I want talent on my team. I want to put people forward. If you haven't seen our Devin Nash show, the one I just did with Interview Royale, we had a bunch of people come on. Some of them were great interviewers. Some of them were terrible interviewers. Okay? That's how we got the homie healer meme that's going to show up as an icon, as an emote soon. But we were trying to help each person. You want to go work for people who value results and they want to help you. I want to pay everyone on my team as much as they're worth, as much as we can afford. Why? Because they're delivering more value than the money I'm spending. So much money gets pissed away in business on projects that fail, on stuff that doesn't deliver, on deadweight people who don't pull their weight. I would love to take away the money somebody who's not doing their job has and give it to you instead. Show me that you're doing positive things. So this question assumes that you're working for some boss who's like, you're not worth anything. You're lucky I pay you anything. I give you minimum wage because it's called minimum. I hate you. If that's your situation, get more skills and get out. And I know some people have to work for shitty bosses for a while, but be putting all your mental energy not into getting a raise from the jerk, but in building your skills in your network so you can get out. I was riding in a town car today when I went to speak to the AWS managers, and the guy driving it looked to be 35 or 40, and he's from Uzbekistan. And he was asking me, hey, I got to get out of driving. My back is shot. I can't buy my kids a house. If I go to this 3-year school or this 3-month school to be a QA engineer, can I get a job that way? What should I do? And I told him, look, figure out how you can get an education and get out of driving, because sooner or later, Uber's going to kill your little private town car business. And if Uber doesn't, 3 months. And if Uber doesn't, it's a certificate program. If Uber doesn't kill your little driving program, then self-driving cars are going to kill it. So the job you're in is going away and you have kids. Work at night, leave school, take on debt, leave your job, take on debt. Do whatever the hell you need to start a new career, and the sooner the better, because the future on driving town cars around is limited. What's my point? If you're working for someone who has a scarcity mindset, there's a great article. Came out today. I don't have it handy. It's Satya Nadella at Microsoft and the growth mindset. So we can definitely bring that up. If you don't know the difference between the growth and the scarcity mindsets, the growth mindset, it's Carol Dweck's book on growth mindset. I'm looking it up here. Dweck and mindset. Okay. Growth mindset says you can get better at stuff. You don't have to be stuck where you are. Same advice for you who are asking questions. Here's the book. Man, do I need to extend my book list. This book we talk about all the time, Carol Dweck. It's The Psychology of Success. Well, that sounds very hippy-dippy. But the growth mindset is about the idea you can get better, you can improve. You earn value by improving, and then your boss should recognize that. You show them the data, and if they don't, I say this all the time, go get a better boss. Amazon, at the moment, we talked about this on another show, has 11,000 open jobs just in Amazon Web Services alone. There are other options out there to get the hell out of what you're doing. And yes, those are tech jobs. You don't all have to be tech, though. Seattle is growing. It needs doctors, it needs lawyers. Right now, it even needs cab drivers. It's a matter of getting out. Hi, I'm Ethan Evans. I hope you've gotten a lot out of this show. To follow us on YouTube, please click the bell icon in the bottom left and subscribe. Also, you can find us live on Twitch, where we answer questions interactively. Further, we have a Discord community, where not only I, but other members of the community team up to answer your questions interactively. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you.